Okay, so my name is Zeenat Potia, and welcome to Mind the Moment Tuesdays, brought to you by Point 32 Health and Tufts Health Plan. I haven't been with you in a while, so I'm really looking forward to this morning and our practice session together. And as we get going, I'm wondering if there's any requests. Please feel free to share in the chat if you have any requests of what you'd like to focus on or practice today. I am always delighted to see what the needs of the collective are, to see what be helpful or of benefit to this group today. So anything on your mind or anything that you would appreciate being included in the practice, I'd love to hear that, and please feel free to include in the chat. Okay, thank you for that, Ellen. We have a request for self-love. Yeah, that's it's a tender and very timely topic. Came up the other day from a colleague of mine who is teaching a multi-session class on how to work with, how to live with, or manage chronic pain. And it's a class for those who might be struggling with a long-term disability or chronic pain. And she reported that the students were really struggling with self-compassion, that it was possible to access compassion towards others, but when it came to themselves, they were hitting some roadblocks. So thank you for mentioning that. We have planting seeds of kindness and compassion. Indeed, very related to the first request. Space and guidance for unsettled feelings around taking a long trip out of the country. Yeah, thank you for that, Julia. I can relate to that. I'm getting ready to go to India in a short few days, less than a week. Body scan. Okay, wow, I love this. So we can include each of these into our practice today. So thank you for those invitations. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Zeenat Potia. I live and teach in Cambridge, but teach lots of places through the magic of Zoom. And I'm so happy to be with you today. So what I'd like to do actually is to have a short opening practice. So we'll just change it up a little bit from what you're used to, hopefully not too much. But I like to have a 5-minute landing, and then we'll do maybe a little, I think that I actually really do want to change it up. So we'll go into practice, we'll have our practice, and then we'll have connection as a community. And let me know if that does not sound good to you. Let me know in the chat. And I just wanted to say we have another suggestion of conflicting feelings about my daughter leaving for college soon. Very happy, but also that lump in my throat to see her go. Yeah, that's very poignant. Talking with a friend last night at dinner about her child going away to college as well, and holding both. There were some folks at the table who were like, oh, you should be happy, you should be celebrating the transition, and my sense was that wasn't what she was feeling. She was feeling a lot of grief. It's grappling with the loss, and so one can hold multiple things or emotions. Yes, there's joy and there's sorrow. And our practice of meditation invites us to be with that full range, that full spectrum of our lived experience. And how do we do that? How do we do that or learn to do that skillfully with equanimity and compassion. So we have another community member who's in the same boat with a daughter heading to college. Okay, so we have some good material to work with. So why don't we get started with some practice, and we'll weave these threads in, and then we'll check in again as a community at the end. So anything I offer is an invitation, it's a suggestion. It's your heart, mind, and body. So please do what feels appropriate, what is nourishing and is of benefit to your system. Anything else that doesn't apply or doesn't resonate, you just let that go. You just leave that. Okay? So you're in agency, you're in choice. I would like to invite a bell to help us begin with the practice. So please finding a posture that is comfortable for you, upright, perhaps taking hands and allowing the shoulders to rest down, head and neck as if you were looking straight ahead. Hands can be resting somewhere, either on your lap or on a table, and the eyes can close if that's comfortable for you, or they can be open with a soft gaze. So landing and arriving in the body. With the eyes of curiosity and care. Just sensing and feeling how things are in this moment. Bodily sensations, the breath, aches and pains, curiosity and care, noticing, sensing, tuning into, not so much the eyes of judgment or comparison or fixing or controlling, but just that, hey, how are things? What's it like right now? And for some it may be, with that verbal inquiry that I just modeled, and for others it's a quieter way of knowing. And even if conditions, emotionally, mentally, physically, are difficult right now, there is some pain or discomfort, something doesn't feel quite right. One of you used the word unsettled. Knowing that, it's like this right now. Okay? Just validating how it is. Giving yourself the luxury of space, of care, just in that inquiry. Noticing what that does to the system. In nonviolent communication, which is a form of practice offered by Marshall Rosenberg, they use the word empathy. It's empathy with the eyes of empathy. And staying in with however things are, whatever the experience is. So the tendency is to either leave, dissociate, distract, get lost, fight back, freeze, get immobilized. And it's natural, it's natural. So we want to try, and I invite you to try to stay in with the truth of your experience right now. And the key ingredient in this is care, is kindness, is softening. It allows us to be with that edgy stuff. And the heart-mind naturally inclined toward it. They're naturally drawn toward or connect with the softness. So creating a little pillow, a little cool oasis of care in the midst of, it's not that we're pretending that everything is fine when it's not, or if it's not. And then know that there is a body. There is a body. So softening the eyes, the jaw, really relaxing and softening the neck, the shoulders, ungripping, unclenching any areas in the chest, the abdomen, the hips, where there might be this bracing. To whatever degree is possible right now. Noticing the feet, really feeling that connection to the ground, to the earth, the heaviness, the solidity of the bones connecting with the firmness of the ground where the feet might be touching. And landing in embodied awareness, a fancy way of saying just be in your body. Know that there is a body. Staying connected to the felt experience in your body right now. Then opening a little bit and sensing and actually inquiring into what emotions are present right now. What emotions are present? And just name them for yourself. Name them. Just lightly tagging. Sadness, worry, joy, boredom. What is here? Lightly tagging and stay with that. You'd kind of touch a tag and then you release. So you're not holding on to, getting lost in the story of why it's here or what's causing it. It's more just, again, breathing space into and knowing what's here. What's here in my emotional landscape right now? And very much in the now. So when I woke up, I was anxious. What's here now? Is there anxiety here now? You might be surprised. Just the simple casting of this net of inquiry to see what's here. And then this net is not tight, it's very loosey-goosey, because some emotions can slip in and out of it. It changes. It's like flickering, moment to moment. You might notice that it's possible to have several things alive at the same time. Acknowledging and validating what's here. Of course, there's sadness. Kids leaving the nest. It's a huge transition. There might be fear for them, there might be concern. It's an unknown. I'm sending them off into the great big unknown. And there's joy, celebrating that you've given them the wings. You've helped those wings grow so they can fly. If one is stepping into an unknown of a journey or a trip, one is leaving the safety of home, of course there's worry and some excitement of the destination, of adventures that lie ahead. So I'd like to offer these two phrases to work with, and even if your kids are not going to college and you're not going on a trip and you're working towards cultivating self-compassion or equanimity, these phrases have been best friends for me for a while and really, really useful. So I'll give them to you, and then the instruction, the teaching instruction, is to just drop them in, dropping them in like a medicine dropper. So you repeat them in your own mind with full awareness, with softness, with care and curiosity. You're just dropping them in over and over again. It's not a practice of repetition. It's a practice of deep listening. So you can think of it even as it's a dye. The mind, the heart, the body is clear water, and you're just dropping in this colored water to kind of seep into the system. May I rest in not knowing. May I rest in care. May I rest in not knowing. May I rest in care. The invitation is to rest, is to get close to, is to be with that rawness of uncertainty, of not knowing. Because our typical habit response is we fill it with dread, or we go into a lot of worry, we fill it, but it's just an opening, it's a flash of not knowing. May I rest in that space, because we don't know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. We don't know. Our kids have their own path, what's going to happen to them. And then we can rest in care. We can trust that our love, that the love that is bigger than just us, will carry them, will carry us. That there is support, there is care, there is this benevolence. And we contribute to it. That's our role. We can contribute to it. We can feed it. We can nourish it with our actions, with our thoughts, with our practice. So let's work with this for a couple of minutes. I'm going to say the phrases and then I'll leave you in silence for a couple of minutes. May I rest in care. May I rest in not knowing. And you can use whichever order that resonates for you. I prefer may I rest in not knowing. May I rest in care. May I rest in not knowing. May I rest in care. May we rest in not knowing. May we rest in care. May all beings rest in not knowing. May all beings, without question and without exception, rest in care. May it be so. Here comes the bell. Just taking your time as you transition out of practice back into more relational connection. I want to thank you for your kind attention and your practice today. And I'd like to invite each of us to offer just one word in the chat of your intention for the rest of the day today. Just one word. Something that you want to nourish, or one of you used this beautiful seed, the seeds metaphor that you want to plant. And we can plant seeds multiple times a day. Every day I plant seeds because that's our work, that's our practice. So I encourage you to have a one-word seed that you're dropping into our collective group this morning before we go our separate ways. So I'll read come in. Courage, peace, ease. Just letting pausing between. And notice if you're with me, just your own pause in between. We can be inspired or borrow one another's seeds. Self-care, peace, peace. Be here, patience. Beautiful. Remembering the universal good. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. I have gratitude that's coming up for me. Gratitude and equanimity. The sense of balance. In many traditions, there are different metaphors that are used. Be like the mountain. Be like the mountain. The Tibetans say that a lot. That kind of fierce steadiness. I like to think of it as a fierce steadiness, that it's not hard. But it's a steadiness that one can trust. That no matter what, staying connected to one's center, to balance. And I like to practice with, especially when the winds, there are storm clouds, and sometimes the storm clouds are kind of a humming storm clouds, or sometimes they come out of nowhere. You get an email or you get something that just knocks you out, or feels like it's going to knock you out, or maybe it does knock you out. What I like to do is just to feel my feet on the ground. It's almost like a bodhisattva vow of groundedness, of steadiness. And it doesn't mean that we're unshakable. Sometimes we do. In a storm, the trees bend. We're human, so it's imperfect. And then we can begin again. We can reground, we can re-steady ourselves, we can rebalance ourselves, we can learn to do that. And the more we practice, the time between when we knocked over and when we come back into balance, that window gets shorter. So see if this appeals to you to play with that, because the summer is great and everything, and I don't know about you, but I feel like it can be quite turbulent. There's a lot going on. It's very full, and we know that globally. And then certainly I can say in my own life, it's very it's very active energy, and that can be exhausting on the system. It can be hard to maintain balance. So sometimes just even a cool glass of water quietly by oneself, and renewing your commitment for peace. A lot of you used, which is another synonym for equanimity or balance or steadiness. Okay, thank you so much. My name, sure, I'll write it out. I should have changed it. Forgive me, I did not. In the chat, it's Zeenat Potia. So you have it now in the chat. Thank you for asking, Ellen. Okay, so until we meet again, take good care of yourselves. Remember to lead with curiosity and care. And when you feel rattled, may rest in not knowing. We don't have to know. In fact, we don't know. We wish we knew, and then that's when we get into trouble. So may rest in not knowing. May rest in care. Okay, be well. Thank you for those wishes. I need them. Going very far away. So and safe and happy travels to you, Julia, as well. And see you in the fall. Okay, bye everyone. Be well. Stay healthy.